Thank you.
Nice to have you here, Caitlin.
Thank you so much.
Caitlin, from Ericsson, we are starting now, so I think it's just ready to go, and you have your slides in 1 second.
Perfect.
You get the clicker from me.
Great. Great to see everyone. How are you? How are you? Come on, first time of the day. Everyone doing well? All right, there we go. I heard last night was fun. Great, great. So happy to be here. You may be thinking 3 things. Who is this person? What is she going to talk about? And why should I care? So hopefully I can address those questions. My name is Caitlin Halferty. I am Global Chief Data Officer at Ericsson. You may notice I'm American. Please don't hold it against me. So from San Francisco, living here in Stockholm. Love being here. I have maybe 7 to 9 shots of espresso a day. Love the commitment to engineering and innovation, so it's been fantastic. What I'd love to talk about is a Chief Data Officer perspective. So how do we look at driving data and AI transformation from a CDO side? What can we do to build the data foundation and enable trusted AI at scale? So hopefully I'll share some specific examples of what we've been able to achieve historically and what we are looking forward to achieving next. And then why should you care? Hopefully this serves as some connection points to what you're doing within your own organizations. And hopefully there's some aspirational looking forward as well in terms of new areas that we're exploring and investing in and look forward to scaling. So with that, let me jump right in. Who is Ericsson as an organization? So large global organization operating across 180 countries. We have a robust commitment to research and development. And we also have an extensive patent portfolio with over 60,000 patents. So we continue to maintain a focus of cutting-edge technology, research, and also monetizing that. So what are we doing to deliver that to the benefit of our employees, our clients, and customers around the world? That has helped us be in a position to be a world leader in mobile networks. What does that mean? We continue to be, per external industry rankings, Gartner and others, a leader in 5G. We have 158 live 5G networks deployed and growing. And really why I think that matters is it enables us to partner with our clients and customers to ensure that they're delivering the best service to their stakeholders, so to their customers. So that's why we're really committed to that leadership and maintaining the commitment to delivering innovation that matters. So I wanted to jump right in. Prior to joining Ericsson, I'm a new hire. This is the first time Ericsson has had a global chief data office. So anytime you have the opportunity to build something new, it's fantastic, but it requires quite a bit of stakeholder relationship, negotiation, making sure that you have the right competencies, skills in place. So I draw largely upon previous experience. I was with IBM for 17 years prior to joining Ericsson, and the last 10, I was focused particularly on the role of Chief Data Officer. So basically, I've been researching, analyzing, writing papers, building data offices for about the last 10 years. One of my areas of responsibility was building an AI accelerator organization within IBM. So I'll share a little bit of insights from doing that work. And then also creating blueprints and playbooks. How can we leverage all of the best practices out there as data officers to make sure that we have the right foundation in place to really grow and scale AI responsibly? So I know this chart is a little light on text. I could have put some more words on there, but I'll go ahead and touch on a couple points. And the main point here is that I think it's important to push on 4 main dimensions, and this probably looks familiar to many of you that are responsible for this work. We talk a lot about the data foundation and how do we ensure the data as a service, what's required in order to do that. One key point that I would highlight is your data is your data. Your insights derived from your insights are your insights. And so we spend a lot of time looking at how can we protect data, how can we protect insights. And now I think more than ever as we start to really question and figure out what data are models trained on, what sort of visibility do we have, what transparency, it's so critical to figure out what's going to fit for your organization. So we spend a lot of time on the data side. Of course, the technology, making sure we're making use of latest technologies. So here's some key considerations that we've used to be successful over the years, and we are certainly bringing forward as we scale out our data office. And then a couple other key areas to highlight: the business process transformation. So of course, we ground all of our data initiatives in business impact and making sure that as data office scales beyond the regulatory requirements and meeting what was initially a compliance-related requirement, how are we doing more to enable data sharing in new ways? How are we creating data ecosystems with our partners, third-party providers, our customers? So always looking at ways to look at common data exchanges, both internally and externally, and making sure as we do that, that we are responsible and accountable for transforming all business processes that are within our scope. And then finally, the organizational leadership. So what I like to say is, your top talent, your key contributors, they could work anywhere. So what are you doing to keep them, retain them? My point of view is, are we giving them things that are really exciting, they feel really motivated, there's a sense of scale, there's a sense that we are driving true transformation, we're driving cultural shift. So we invest a lot around the culture side of what we do, and we have quite a number of ways in which we do that. So building and fostering data-related communities at all levels. So one strategy, for example, is having a steering co at the top level. So you have data officer council members that are senior business decision makers, responsible for collecting requirements, driving adoption of central data platforms through the organization. Then you have your data domain managers that know their data so well. And then, of course, the data stewards that sit across the organization. So what are you doing to foster community at all levels? Those are the questions we challenge ourselves with. We keep pushing. We invest quite a bit in data literacy, communications, change, and stakeholder management. So hopefully that gives a bit of a snapshot of how we look at it from a data perspective in terms of playbook and blueprint. So I thought I would highlight an IBM example. This is a point-in-time snapshot. So this is a summary of results. The team went on to do even more after I left, but this represents a 5-year journey for us within the IBM organization in which we stood up a data office that was responsible for driving data and AI transformation within the organization. So we stood up a cognitive enterprise data platform that became the central data platform and drove benefits that you see represented here. And the intent of sharing this slide is to hopefully show what's possible in a data office. This represents, of course, a large organization, and a lot of folks at the beginning told us it's not possible. Data resides within regional platforms. There's no way we can bring this together. But we were able to do that and see quite a bit of benefits. So first and foremost, it was around business benefits. What are we doing to make sure that it's not just a science project, but we're driving business benefits? We drove over $1 billion, and that was a combination of both decommissioning, sunsetting legacy systems, investing in new technologies, and driving out new capabilities, as well as monetization opportunities, better insight around customers, better sales, results, et cetera. And then making sure that we have a calculation model in place to show our ROI of return on our transformation initiatives. Making sure that in the beginning we measured our end-to-end cycle time. So within the IBM company at the time, we had 121 end-to-end processes. So think of those: supply chain, HR, finance, procurement. So we measured the time so that as we drove out true change, we could see we were able to do work much faster. So eliminated a lot of the manual tasks, automated a lot of tasks, and showed that improvement. And then data queries, of course, making sure that things that would take months, were reduced to seconds. Achieving GDPR and related compliance readiness, so close partnership with privacy and legal to ensure that we had regulatory readiness in place. And then finally, the central platform that we built out, making sure it had the ability to handle large volume and show that quarter-over-quarter increase. So again, hopefully a picture of what's possible in terms of business outcomes, business benefits, both from the technology side as well as data side. And then just a picture of some of the use cases that we focused on at the time. And again, the intent was to build AI use cases internally, scale them, integrate into product, partner with our customers to deploy in their own environments. So in my opinion, AI-related use cases can span all over the organization. You have to be a bit careful, pinpoint, identify a few, grow and scale from there. So what are we doing within the Ericsson organization? I thought it might be helpful to jump back to our commitment in this area. Again, as I mentioned, it's a new organization. So we partner closely with our colleagues across IT, group function technology, a number of really fantastic organizations that are data-driven, that are driving AI transformation. And first and foremost, we maintain a commitment to the work data office has to do. Governance, policy setting, all of the architecture related. And then we're expanding into particular areas that we see there's a need to put additional resource. So security, ethics, risk, partnering with our legal organization. We've really expanded our data ethics team and resources. We think that's an area that we've really got to invest in. And then there's some areas we continue to focus on in metadata, quality. We have a large master data organization that really is responsible for some of the most important data in our organization, our master data. And then, of course, the engineering, the automation, AI, making sure that we have the right skills and competencies in these areas to drive true transformation. And as I mentioned earlier, it all comes down to people and culture. So the literacy and communications, we have a fantastic team that's responsible for building training videos and programs. And we have one of our key results that tracks how many employees globally take our data literacy readiness. And it's not just completing the training in the program. What opportunities are we giving them to apply in their work? Because if you train people in our experience and you don't give them the opportunity to apply the work, they leave the organization. So how do we retain our top performers? So we'll continue to track and measure the literacy related. And I think as a data office, there's a responsibility to really drive data understanding across the organization. And so we'll continue to have a major focus on that particular area. And then what I wanted to do from here is perhaps jump into some specific examples. What are we doing? What are we delivering? What use cases are we focusing on? So just a couple to showcase and highlight. If I jump, it all starts with the world-class data and AI platform. So we are big believers of a federated data management philosophy and want to ensure that we are enabling our regional and geography leads to have access to data in a way in which they need it to be successful. However, there's a lot of data that we want to centralize in order to drive cost, as well as better performance and all of the monetization opportunities that exist on the upside. And so we're starting with our data producers, of course, ensuring that lifecycle management is in place. As we move our raw data up the stack, what data assets are we creating that are going to be of value to the business? We're building, deploying in partnership with our colleagues across the organization, our AI and ML models. And then data products has been a really important concept for us. I'm curious to hear if it is for many of you. It's one of our central tenets of data democratization. So making sure we're publishing a robust number of products to the marketplace, making them available to our employees to make use of. And then, of course, partnering closely with information security to make sure we have the right access management policies in place so that we're doing so in a responsible way. And then making sure that we have data exposure and sharing in place. Some of the competency areas I mentioned on the other chart around quality and catalog, some of the access engine capabilities. We want to move from role-based to rule-based. So it's not just role suitability for data access. It's what other considerations and parameters within the framework should we take. For example, how is the data going to be used? Is it going to move geographic bounds? Is it going to be paired with other data? How are certain models going to use this data as they train and we start to test new AI capabilities? So all of the access related that's so critical to doing this effectively. And then finally, the marketplace. So we have a catalog and a marketplace, and we really want to create a culture where employees feel empowered to access the data they need when they need it in a way that's trusted, and make sure we're expanding that. And then finally, we're in service, in my opinion, to our consumers. So how are we making sure that we're serving consumers of our data both internally as well as externally? Here's another example I wanted to share. Really excited. This initiative is spearheaded out of our technology organization, heavily dependent on data. So perhaps this is an example where data foundation can spur some of the most interesting, exciting, innovative use cases out there. So we have a digital twin that takes physical site data location and brings it online. So this is part of our strategy to digitize data. It ingests data from multiple sources, so think lasers, drones, manual data, unstructured, structured, Excel spreadsheets, et cetera. Brings it into a common ISO-based digital twin, delivers intelligent use cases that look throughout the life cycle, equipment, sites, network, and essentially the benefit of it is it supports multi-vendor, multi-organization scenarios. So you might think, okay, there's a benefit. You're bringing this data together. We're able to deploy thousands of digital sites. What is the intent? What are the benefits? We've seen a lot of benefits. Here's a subset that are listed. And there's, of course, cost savings, better site planning. We see impact to sustainability in that we're able to do this work remotely. We're sending fewer people on site, so we have impact on workplace hazard reduction, which is really important for our physical safety as well as mental well-being. We're able to experiment in a more rapid fashion, take that feedback, deploy, improve, test performance. So we're seeing a whole host of benefits to this work. And at the core of it is data contributions. We have a lot of really talented data scientists and AI experts across our organization and technology and other teams, IT, that are driving this and scaling it. And then it supports a number of AI use cases. So we're seeing that we can then start to determine optimal configurations, figure out which sites require either one action or a trigger set of actions, so we can zero in on that. The comparison, total cost of ownership. And then the one I'm also very excited about, I've always worked on install base. I've always tried to figure out who are our customers, what are they buying, how can we support them in buying decisions, cross-sell, upsell, make their experience more seamless. So there's a whole sales opportunity here that we're taking advantage of as well. So hopefully this shows a specific example of where we are doing a couple of things. One, we're using a common data platform to spearhead this work. We're helping to digitize an important area. We're better serving our customers. And then there's a number of other benefits as well. I also wanted to share an example. I know probably many of us have all kinds of AI-related initiatives going on. As I mentioned, I've been working on deploying AI use cases for a long time, so I'm always eager to see what's the latest thinking, where can we be most impactful, how can we connect to business outcome. And one of the areas I'm really excited about is some of the protection piece. How do we protect our data? So we're spearheading, for example, an initiative around digital watermarking. So I have an individual on my team and his team that have a number of patents in this space. And they're looking at how do we better track digitally the path of our data. So figuring out detection of poison data, are we able to verify data integrity? What does it take? What questions do we need to ask? Are we securing that data is trustworthy? Do we have the traceability? So we're able to carry that information on origin of data through to model, output, and then use across the organization. Enhanced security, so making sure we're partnering on the security side. And then, as I mentioned, we have a patent portfolio. We care a lot about intellectual property rights. How are we able to protect that for ourselves and our customers, and making sure that we're exploring ways to embed unique identifiers in that data so that we can improve our IPR posture. So this is perhaps one example of many in which I'm thinking about the overarching trustworthy AI opportunity, what's the framework we have in place, and what are the very specific technologies that we're leveraging and making use of so that we can ensure we're contributing to trustworthy AI from a data office perspective. The clock is blinking at me. I think I'm almost at time, so I've been instructed not to run over. I hope that was a rapid fire in terms of Chief Data Officer perspective, what we've done other places, what we're doing within Ericsson, hopefully some inspiration examples, and look forward to connecting with all of you throughout the day. Thank you very much.